I never found out why he chose me to share his secret. Perhaps because we had similar dreams. But this was twice as fast. Twice as powerful as anything I'd ever thought possible. Though what that meant, I could never have foreseen. Incredible graphics and colors, so many colors. Our world would never be the same again.
Well, unfortunately, the CD-32 didn't really change the world as much as that ad so ambitiously proclaimed. However, it is an interesting piece of history, and that is why we're going to take a look at it. Introduced in 1992, the CD-32 was another attempt from Commodore to make a games machine, because you know, the Commodore 64 GS was such a huge success. This was also the last machine that the real Commodore actually ever made, so it's a shame they ended on such a low. The CD-32 was indeed the first CD-based games console to be sold outside of Japan. However, it wasn't as much of a success as Commodore would have hoped, and it only ever sold in Europe, so no NTSC models actually exist. If you live outside of Europe and you wish to buy one of these, I'm afraid you're going to have to import it. And believe me, some of the eBay prices are indeed ridiculous. The console itself is essentially an Amiga 1200 with a CD-ROM drive attached. This CD-ROM drive was the cause of problems for the CD-32, mostly due to the fact that it is extremely unreliable. The system itself is very nice looking. You have a lovely CD-ROM compartment proudly boasting about its 32 whole bits, a very large reset button on the front, along with a volume control and an earphone jack. Looking at the side, you can see two very standard looking controller ports and an S-video output. This is of course where you plug in your controllers. However, you can also get into some secret menus by plugging in an Amiga mouse, holding the left button down and turning the power on. Another famous failure point of this machine is the dreaded controller, and yes, it really is shaped like that. And it's just about as uncomfortable as it looks. It's usable, but it's certainly not the best thing in the world, and the directional pad is a horribly uncomfortable disc-shaped thing that just seems to have no real feedback whatsoever. You can of course plug in a joystick or a Sega Mega Drive controller, but due to the extra buttons, you would probably want to stick with a standard controller. Looking on the back, we can see everything you would expect. Standard AV output and a power socket, of course. This machine can be used as a standard CD player, but keep in mind it cannot play CDRs very well, and that brings us on to our next problem. As I mentioned, the CD drive is problematic, so burning a CDR on your PC will most probably not work. If you want downloaded games of having any chance of running, then you will need to burn the discs at no more than 2 times. And finding a PC that does this nowadays can be very difficult. So you'll have to dig up an old PC somewhere that happens to have a slower CD burner. But speaking of games, I'm afraid I have some bad news. I only own one piece of software for the Amiga CD-32, and that is due to the fact that most of the software seems to run absolutely ridiculous prices on eBay. I've made CDR copies of various games such as Microcosm and Alien Breed Tower Defense, but I'll be honest, with the way my collection is organised, I very much doubt I'm going to find any of those. But don't worry, the game I do have is a good one. It's Zool, Ninja of the Nth Dimension. Zool being one of the most popular franchises on the Amiga computers. Now looking at this footage, you may well be thinking, well apart from the full motion video on the intro and the music, this game looks no different to a standard Amiga game. Well, you'd be completely correct. Some CD32 games, such as Alien Breed, did come with some poorly acted low-resolution full-motion video intros, and this game just has a pre-rendered 3D animation, hardly exciting. But the actual games themselves were not a whole lot different from their standard Amiga versions. Now of course, the bottom line is, should you buy an Amiga CD32? Well, if you're like me and you're interested in vintage computers, then I say go ahead and get one. However, if you're looking for something to play the Amiga series of video games on, then I suggest looking into things a bit more and buying yourself an Amiga 500 or 1200. The 500 being the one that is easier to find and of more historical significance than the 1200 or the CD32. The CD32 tends to be a bit of a headache to get up and running, and finding the games is even more difficult. Overall, it's a fun and interesting system, and I'm very happy to have it in my collection. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Amiga CD32, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.